Good morning, good afternoon, hello, good day. Whatever time zone you're in, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Global Focus today. My name is Reverend Sharri Johnson, and I am your host. And I am delighted to share with you today the experience of Reverend Verona Garland. Let me just tell you a little bit about my host. She serves as the assistant minister of Agape Bay area in Oakland, California, which is an affiliate center of Agape International in Los Angeles. This lady is a spiritual Jill of all trades, I'm telling you. She's an Emerson Theological Institute credentialed interfaith minister and a Center for Spiritual Living minister. She energizes, enthuses, and inspires all of her listeners to their own potential with a clarity of practical steps for boundless discoveries, ideas, and limitless achievement. Her newest ministry that she's going to talk with us about today is called Prosperity on the Move. Doesn't that just give you God bumps? She serves all who are committed to their own prosperity identification, transformation, and success. Verona's global services include inspirational speaking, spiritual counseling, prosperity mentoring, freedom coaching, curriculum creation, and my favorite, play shop. Welcome, 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 Reverend Verona. We are delighted to have you with us today.
Thank you, Reverend Sharri. I'm very excited to be here with you. I am so thankful to be in this energetic of joy and global outreach and focus and so much more together here with you and I.
Oh, thank you. I'm just going to ask you questions, and
Okay.
you can talk as long as you want to, and the more the better.
Okay.
And if I forget to ask you something you want to know, I'm going to ask you that question too, so don't worry about
Okay.
it.
All
So the
right.
first one we're just going to start with, this is about focus ministry. So what drew you to focus ministry, and what does focus ministry mean to you?
Okay, that's the wonderful beginning question. What drew me to Focus Ministry is that it became very clear to me after I became a minister that even though I speak and do play shops and a lot of other things, I'm not really a pulpit minister. That is to say, I'm not really the sort of minister who every Sunday gets up and shares the message. I have the capability for that. However, what really makes my heart sing, what really resonates with me, is taking what I know of our principles and our philosophy out into the world. Okay. So, and by out into the world, I mean with everyday people. And every time I do some, have done in the past and still do now, some visioning, asking what is God's idea of itself as me, as a minister, it always comes back. Take it out to the people. Take it out, get out amongst them. Take it to those who are exactly the way you are. And also, it just gives me, it energizes me, it thrills me, it gives me so much joy to really be part of the focusing of a particular spiritual principle, excuse me, or spiritual principles, but and bringing it to everyone, not just bringing it to those people who want to come into one of our centers, because these days not everyone wants to come into one of our centers. And also what has propelled me through this, or what made it come to me, is I happen to be the wonderful blessed mother of two adult children, and they're millennials, and I get to learn from them that the ways that we have done spirituality in the past, it doesn't fit for them. So this is what else makes it important to have, to me, why it's imperative that we have and we are and we embrace and embody our focus ministries. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what does your focus ministry, the new one, the prosperity one, what does that look like? What's the shape and the sound and the taste of it?
Well, first want to tell you how I came to have this ministry. This ministry is the culmination of a lot of life experiences of my whole life, because I was the person who seemed to always have financial challenges, financial issues, financial problems. And as the times have gone by, I got to learn, oh, this is my ultimate learning. Use surrender to the talents and gifts that I brought in with me to really learn this, to live it, to embody it, to get ensconced into it, and then share it on with others. Because it's become really clear to me that a lot of us, I'm not going to say all of us, I can speak for myself individually, that I had financial woundings or financial trauma or financial healings that needed to happen within and as me. Okay. And these were of my own choice, my own metaphysical choice, so to speak. However, they were lessons that poured forth to me as I opened myself to the possibility of financial freedom, and really the possibility of actually being the form of source and supply, really being the vessel in the container for source and supply to flow through and out into the world. So that's how this came about, this prosperity on the move. And also the way it came about is I am a highly energetic person. I really appreciate and love movement, all movements of all sorts. And so it showed up, prosperity on the move. Let's get this prosperity up, let's get it out, and let's move it along, because of course prosperity, wealth, opulence, abundance is circulation itself, the divine itself circulating itself. So that's how my latest minute, this ministry, prosperity on the move, how it's first, that's the genesis of it, so to speak. That's how it showed up through and as me. And I was so delighted that as a CSL minister, I get to have a focus ministry in this. And so it can go to any ethnicity, any age group, any group, any culture all around the world, because all of the cultures all around the world, we are all about being the form and function of source and supply. So that's how it began. And so how it really looks is there's a lot of things we do. However, before we go on, it is become known to me, is flown through me, that there are 4 ways for this healing to happen in our lives. Okay. In our life, in the life of anyone. And these 4 ways that this prosperity on the move flows into healing any of our financial challenges, any financial concerns, any financial issues, anything like that, that in our humanness we might get stuck on, that we might just be, in that place of victimhood with it. So the 4 ways that we begin this healing and this revitalization and this really remembrance and recognizing the opulence and the strength and the wealth and the abundance that each of us is. The first way is through forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key. Forgiveness is the fluidity. Forgiveness is the way into our healing. And that's true for a lot of things, obviously, as you know, Reverend Sharri. Forgiveness is what really opens up the floodgates. However, I have come to know that when it comes to financial freedom and financial healing and revealing and revitalization, first one is forgiveness. The second principle is gratitude. We get to be grateful for everything that's been happening to us, which is to say, I get to be grateful if I go on my phone and I look on the app for my bank and it shows that I have $0 in my account. I still get to be grateful. I get to be grateful for all the other things that I have to be grateful for. And I also get to be grateful to know that, so now there's a vacuum being made to be filled up. And as we know, the universe abhors a vacuum. So now there's an opening for something to flow through. The third tenet that we work with in Prosperity on the Move is self-love. And self-love comes in many different intensities, in many different levels. However, it's really of the utmost importance to, if we are in a relationship of spirituality with the life force itself, then we get to know that we are that, and then we get to accept loving that self of ourselves. And self-love it comes in teeny increments, or it can come in really, really, really big acceptances. However, self-love is of great importance. And then the final thing is receptivity. And the receptivity is actually owning our deservability, really opening up to the receptivity, because a lot of us are great givers. A lot of us can give and give and give and give and give and give and give. However, there is a law of circulation in the universe, in the cosmos, in the galaxies. And that law of circulation includes giving and receiving. So then we learn ways to, or we delve into different activities and exercises to be in a place of receptivity, to open our hearts, our minds, our very being to receive. And then, of course, the flow comes through. It has no choice. This is how we know this is how the law works. This is the way it is. So that's the way that Prosperity on the Move looks. And we have place shops, and we have one-on-one counseling and one-on-one prosperity healings and assessments and all sorts of things. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. I love that forgiveness and gratitude are the first two. I always think about gratitude. It never occurred to me to think about forgiveness. So I always
Mm.
tell people when I talk about this show that there's going to be something they haven't thought of. They're going to learn something they didn't know before. So you have taken care of that for me. So here's my next question. Who does your ministry serve? Is there a specific group that you focus on, and how do you reach those people?
Okay. Yeah. Yes, there is. There's a certain group that is the focus now, and that is everyone who is how do I say this? Those people who reach for their phone, their tablet, their computer to get information and to find possibilities for their lives. So really my focus is, I don't want to say just millennials, but I know about a lot about millennials. My focus is those people who may not want to come to a brick and mortar place to learn. So the focus is on getting it up and out on all sorts of social media outlets to allow people to know this is an availability for you, and these are the ways that it can happen, and here's what you do to here's how you get it started. And ideally, or usually, I start out with just a one-on-one financial prosperity abundance assessment with someone, and then we go from there. Okay, here's where you are, here's where you stand now in this assessment. It's just some of the questions are like, where are you now in your abundance? What sort of relationship do you have with money? Yeah. If money were a lover or a partner or even a sibling, what sort of relationship do you have with it? Those sorts of things to ask about it. And what is your willingness quotient? What are you willing? What's your willingness? Are you willing to be willing to be willing to shift this? Or is your willingness, well, I just want it to happen. However, I really don't want to put a lot of work into it. So the focus group and that happens, it happens to all of us. The focus group is everyone who would like to self-identify themselves with prosperity and abundance. That's the focus group. And the means is thus far more of an electronic means, which I think a lot of focus ministries have this, because it's the way that the most information can get to the most amount of people.
That makes sense to me. And since COVID, everybody has been funneled into developing those skills. The group you're describing, I think, are the folks who see a screen as a sensory input device.
Yes, you said it, Sherry. Yes, Reverend Sherry, you said it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And
Okay.
as you said, since COVID, we have all gotten an opportunity to learn about screen learning, screen embracing, screen interaction. Yeah. Yeah. So that's who it is. At this point, that's who the focus is on. Anyone who's really about self-identification with wealth and abundance and opulence and prosperity, and is willing to step into the ways that for each uniquely custom-made, bespoke activity for their lives, how it unfolds.
So you're contacting them through online advertising
Correct. Mm-hmm.
and and serving them through
Mm-hmm.
online interactions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do folks support your ministry? How would if somebody wanted to support your ministry? What would they do? How would they go about it?
They would get in touch with me, and then we would have Prosperity on the Move. I would ask them first, specifically, what's the reason you want to be a part of Prosperity on the Move? What I spoke of before, that spiritual and financial assessment. And then they would have sessions with me. I think that's the question you're asking. Then they would have individual sessions with me, and sometimes we have 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 sessions, and then we move along in the prosperity spectrum. Okay, move them along on the prosperity spectrum. That's one of the ways. The other way is, of course, what you said in the beginning of my intro. I love that. One of the other ways is I am available for prosperity play shops, which is a way of having seminar, workshop, learning tools where a group of people may come together and we go through a lot of prosperity, not a lot, but we go through a good amount of prosperity exercises that have to do with, the real hands-on part of Prosperity on the Move. There's I have 12 tenets of spiritual growth for prosperity on the move. And then there's the hands-on part, because we are spiritual beings in these gorgeous human bodies. And so that's the other way that someone could support the ministry. Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I dearly love the idea of being hands-on with money. That works.
Yeah.
That absolutely works for me. But actually, what I meant was, if someone loves what you're doing and wants to support you in doing it, and they wanted to make a donation of time or materials or money, how would they do that?
How they would do that, thank you, Reverend Sharri. How they would do that is, I see it running across the bottom of the screen. They could go on my website, veronagarland.com, and or they could send me an email, revverona1@gmail, and then we could discuss how that circulation flows. And there are all sorts of ways it could be. And I love it, Reverend Sharri, that you have this compendium of information and books. It could be something like that. It could be books. It also, because it is about prosperity, it can be cash. It can be what we call cash money. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Donations are wonderfully accepted, graciously and most appreciatively accepted. And I have several ways that donations can come through. I am on Venmo, I am on PayPal, I am on Zelle, so that any of those ways that, and of course, the regular, what I call now the old-fashioned way, a regular check can be written. Yeah, you write just what you're doing. Write out a
Right?
check and send
In
it.
the
Yeah,
mail.
exactly, and send it on an USPS snail mail. So yes, those are the ways that I can be supported. And also, thank you for reminding me that the funding for this ministry is all by the gracious support of donors. Yeah. So that I appreciate grants or donors or anything like that that come through for the propagation of this ministry out in the world. Because for me too, it's important to, like, one of the things I do is I attend interfaith ministry meetings here in the Northern California area, which is where I am, so that this philosophy and these principles that we know are science of mind principles that we absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they work, so that it can be infused into other faith-filled communities also. And I mean, it's not just the infusion out, it's also the absorption back in too of whatever it is that, like, an interfaith organization brings. So that's one of the examples.
Oh, that's wonderful. So my next question is a little more, oh, I don't know, spiritual. Here it is. You can assess it yourself. How does your ministry support or expand conscious evolution? My favorite term, conscious evolution. Evolution's been happening for millennia, but I believe we are in a place now where evolution needs to be conscious. So how does your ministry enhance, support, contribute to that?
How my ministry enhances, supports, and contributes to this conscious evolution is it opens every single individual up to the divinity of abundance and prosperity that each individual is. You know, spirit cannot bring forth the consciousness of itself just in consciousness. It must come through in form. And as each one of us opens to accepting the deservability of the prosperity and abundance that we are, we get an opportunity to circulate it. And then it circulates through and as the entire planet. And all beings are lifted up in abundance, prosperity, opulence, wealth. And I don't mean just in cash, in every single facet of everyone's lives. So that as prosperity on the move surges out into the world, then it gives everyone an opportunity to own and accept and embrace that we already are, the absolute font of divine prosperity and givingness and abundance and opulence and so much more. So I believe it shifts the consciousness, because, you know, sometimes if you turn on the television and you can, it's kind of a woe is me sometimes. And this ministry, Prosperity on the Move, allows every individual to know that there is more than enough abundance available on the planet, that it is here, that it is ours, and that we get to do that is organically and naturally ours to do and to be, which is open to it. open to it, allow it to flow through, and allow any blockages we may have put up when we came in, any blockages that we may have, that we were taught, that we believe in, that I don't know, that may have worked for us in the past, that we get an opportunity to dissolve those blockages so that we can be an absolute part of the consciousness of circulation and abundance and givingness on the planet. So that, I think that's the answer.
I think that's a great answer. And I've got one more. You did so
Yes.
well on that one. Here's the heavy hitter, Brenda. I only have a couple of real causes, and one of them is world peace. And to my mind, spirituality isn't worth anything unless it contributes to world peace.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't any kind of spirituality that doesn't contribute to world peace. So could you give us an idea how the prosperity on the move contributes to world peace? How does
Oh,
that
yes.
shift the consciousness of world peace?
Yes. Oh, that's a wonderful, yummy question. Thanks, Reverend Sherry. I love that, because the way prosperity on the move contributes to world peace is a lot of times people have a belief system in the haves and the have-nots. And so, and a lot of people go through their entire life thinking that's how the world works, the haves and the have-nots. It versus knowing that everyone is one of the haves. Each one of us is that. So the way that it contributes to world peace is we all get to step into the learning and the enlightenment and the transmutation of sharing that is given to us. And so that the abundance of the planet gets spread out and shared in what I might call equitable ways, in ways that we haven't seen up until now. However, I do know that you and I and all of us have chosen to be here at this time to live through a mammoth and spectacular transmutation and transformation of the planet. So how prosperity on the move contributes to world peace? For one thing, it allows every individual to know that they are the blessed of the Most High. And so that they get to receive whatever is available, since they are the beloveds of the beloved and the delight of the divine, that it's available to them. And as that happens, to as far as I'm concerned, or in my perspective, then it brings peace. It brings inner peace. It brings that peace within that then radiates out onto the planet. And peace knows itself, and so it magnetizes to itself, it identifies with itself, and it comes to itself. It brings, so I agree with you about world peace. It brings all of us, what I read recently, 8 billion people on the planet. It brings all 8 billion of us together because we can feel the feeling tone of the inner peace that comes from from me to you, and you to the next person, and living a life of prosperity and abundance enhances all of this.
Well, that's an answer I can live with.
Okay.
I have one more question. And this is the one I ask everybody, and they go, "Ooh," or they go, "Ooh." So I got a feeling you're going to be in the second category, because talking about a practice is wonderful. Telling us what you do is exciting and interesting and teaches us, but nothing tops experience. So if you could just pick one little practice that you would do in a play shop and tell us about that.
Oh, yes.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is sometimes the most challenging one, forgiveness. My favorite practice that I might do in a play shop is some sort of forgiveness activity, some sort of forgiveness meditation, some sort of forgiveness get up and move around forgiveness activity and movement. Because for me, stepping into, embracing, embodying, just wrapping yourself up in, swaddling yourself in forgiveness opens up all the floodgates. It opens up all the blockages. It dissolves and breaks down all the blockages. And forgiveness, because in the process of forgiveness, we free ourselves. We free ourselves from any past activity. And also, a lot of times in like a play shop, I'll do the forgiveness meditation that has to do with a golden cord. And it's a golden cord of holding any of us to something and someone that in the past we may feel has wronged us, or is giving us rancor, is giving us resentment, is giving us any of those sorts of things, anger. And then the practice is allowing ourselves to be willing to open up to clipping that golden cord, to cutting that golden cord. And also in knowing that now I'm freeing that whomever or whatever it was on the end of that golden cord. It could be even like poverty that's on the end of that other end of that golden cord. However, I'm freeing myself too. Now I am free to no longer associate with any of the seeming toxicity of that golden cord that I manufactured, that I created, that might be holding me together with anything or anyone. And it's so amazing. I see it happen so many times, Reverend Sharri, in play shops, that it's such a sense of relief. It's such a sense of letting go. It's such a sense of no longer trying to fix things or really work hard or, making things work, that then it opens up all that energetic, all that vibration for the flow of abundance, as well as the flow of just exactly what is it do I want. It opens it all up for really to get deepened into those sorts of questions and that sort of activity.
Oh, I want to go to one of your play shops.
Thanks. Come on.
It sounds like so much fun.
Thanks. It is.
Okay. So here's the last question I will ask, and it doesn't have anything to do with how your ministry works. It's all about you. This is my fairy godmother question. Suppose that you could, and we say this as if it weren't already true. Suppose that you could make a wish. You could ask for anything to happen, to arrive, to occur in your ministry, and know that whatever you ask for was absolutely guaranteed to happen. What would you ask?
What I would ask for is an opportunity for global sharing. I would ask for, when you were saying that, what came from me, I would ask for the equivalent of a flying magic carpet to absolutely take me to all the places around the planet so that I can share this with every single person who has not yet learned that they are absolutely the opulence of the divine, that they're truly the prosperity vessel and channel, and they're the prosperity surge. They're, and that with every movement, prosperity on the move, that is exactly what they are. With every movement, that's what I am, you, they are, we are, all of us are. So the fairy godmother question is, an opportunity to travel around the globe, sharing prosperity on the move, and an opportunity in the sharing of prosperity on the move to open every single being of light up to the healing of any prosperity trauma, any abundance wounding, anything like that might be stagnating within.
Wow. All I can say is thank you so much. You made my Tuesday.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Sharri.
So one more question. Will you come back?
Yes, Reverend Sharri, as many times as you'd like.
Thank you. I'm going to make you a regular because it feels so good having you here and hearing me speak.
Yeah, that's spectacular. Yes. And I just want to say, I'm so excited for the connection that you and I have made, that we made in another way, on another call, on another activity, that made me know that we have been connected since before time began. And that both of our focus ministries are really prescient in the healing of the world, the planet, and of all the 8 billion beings on the planet. Yeah.
Yep, that's the plan.
Yeah.
So thank you. And I hope that you will all come back again. This certainly was worth it this week, and it will be next week too. Next week, our guest is Reverend Dr. Pamela P.J. Stanley. This lady is a delight. She'll tickle you. She'll make you laugh. She'll make you cry. She is just wonderful. And I'm not going to tell you anything more about her except that she is from the Harmony Spiritual Center. Doesn't that sound great? And so if you'll join us again next week, you'll have a whole new visit and a whole new time of learning. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing.